Okay, so what's up guys? I'm back for another video at ngayon po pag-usapan natin yung pinaka-mainit na topic of discussion currently, which is yung impeachment complaint filed po against the Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines, Sara Duterte. Pero before po tayo mag-start sa discussion, may konting disclaimer lang po ako. I'm sure sa second part po ng video, madami pong magre-react sa inyo. Pero ganun po kasi talaga. Yung mission ko po kasi sa mga videos ko dito is that I simply discuss the facts of current events and apply po yung batas or yung kaso na tingin kong applicable doon. Regardless po kung sinong political figure po ang posibleng maapektuhan. Okay? So sana po wag kayo magalit sa akin, but I'm just explaining and applying po talaga the law and decided cases dun po sa facts na dinidiscuss natin. And of course, ngayon na mention ko yung second part, sana wag din po kayong mag-skip ha. Panoorin nyo pa rin po yung first part kasi importante pa rin po talaga yun para at least maintindihan nyo talaga kung ano nga ba ang impeachment proceedings. Okay, so una-una po explain ko muna ang impeachment. Ang impeachment po is the power that is given po to Congress or to the legislative branch of our government by the Constitution para po tanggalin yung mga impeachable officers, okay? At yung mga impeachable officers po, hindi to lahat ng government employees or lahat ng elected officials. Iilan lang po to sila, specifically po the President, and now dito sa discussion natin, the Vice President. And yung iba pa is members of constitutional commissions, members of the Supreme Court, and the Ombudsman. Yung House Speaker po or yung Senate President, hindi po yan sila impeachable officers kasi yan po yung isa sa mga pinaka-frequent comments na nakikita ko na dapat daw i-impeach Speaker yung SPA. So you see, House Speaker po at sa Senate President, they are not considered as impeachable officers. At yung impeachment po, this is a purely political process po as defined in the Supreme Court case dun sa final po nung asawa ni former Chief Justice Renato Corona. Okay? So sinabi po ng Supreme Court in that case is that an impeachment proceeding po is a purely political process for removing an impeachable officer from his or her office. Kung sa Tagalog pa, yung objective lang po talaga dito is para tanggalin sa office niya. Therefore, wala pong civil, criminal, or administrative liability na nag-a-attach despite a conviction in an impeachment proceeding. And the reason why I am emphasizing and explaining this aspect of the impeachment proceeding po, kasi madami po kasing stereotype or misconception since in an impeachment complaint, madami po diyang criminal allegations, administrative allegations, constitutional prohibition violations. Therefore, kung ikaw po wala kang idea, it would appear na criminal in nature tong impeachment proceeding. Pero hindi po yun ganon, kinlaro na po yun. It is purely political for purposes of removing the impeachable officer from office and not to render a judgment of conviction in a criminal case or to give civil liability or administrative liability to an impeachable officer. Okay, so hopefully klaro yun. Now, let's go naman po to the process of impeachment. So yung impeachment po, this is an exclusive function given by our Constitution only to the legislative branch. Yung legislative branch po, yan po yung Kongreso natin. And under our Congress, there are two houses po, the lower house and the upper house. Yung lower house po, ito yung House of Representatives, okay? Yung upper house naman, this is the Senate of the Philippines. So dito po ang function ng lower house, sila po yung nagre-receive or nagfa-file ng mga impeachment complaints. And as a matter of fact po, dito sa current discussion natin, ang nangyari po dito is merong concerned citizens na nag-file ng impeachment complaint na in-endorse po ng isang congressman. So yan po isang option. Another option din po na pwede gawin dyan ng House of Representatives is yung sila mismo, yung mga congressman mismo, pwede po sila mag-file din directly. Okay, so after po ng filing of an impeachment complaint, yung next stage na po dyan ngayon, pupunta na po yan sa Committee on Justice. So yung Committee on Justice po, ito po yung magko-conduct ngayon ng mga deliberations, ng hearings, ng review to determine whether or not may sufficient substance nga ba talaga yung impeachment complaint filed. And after po the Committee on Justice level, pupunta na po yan ngayon sa plenaryo, sa plenary para pagbotohan ng members of Congress. And yung required number of votes po sa Congress para ma-approve yung impeachment complaint is 1/3 of all members. At dito rin po ninyo makikita kung gaano talaga ka-powerful yung plenary functions or plenary powers of Congress. Kasi kahit na po let's say yung Committee on Justice mag-suggest na it should be dismissed, the impeachment complaint should be dismissed, etc. etc. Pero pag 1/3 of all members of Congress will vote na dapat i-approve pa rin yun at para dun sa 1/3 na yun, there is sufficient substance and form dun sa complaint, wala pong magagawa yung Committee on Justice but to surrender po dun sa decision ng 1/3 of all members of Congress. Yun po kasi yung essence talaga ng plenary powers of Congress because again, like what I have discussed in earlier videos, yung House of Representatives po kasi theoretically are composed of representatives representing the people. Therefore, if those representatives vote in accordance with the number of votes required under the Constitution, it is as if the people po had spoken and approved that measure na ginawa ng Kongreso. At idagdag ko rin po pala, pwede nga rin actually i-bypass na yung Committee on Justice level as long as meron pong impeachment complaint na pinirmahan agad at inapprove ng 1/3 members of all Congress. Pag ganun po 1/3 makuha agad nila, wala na pong Committee on Justice, diretso na po talaga pag-submit ng articles of impeachment sa Senado na po at mag-undergo na ngayon yung trial proper sa Senate. At para naman po sa upper house, the Senate of the Philippines, sila po yung nag-act na korte dito sa impeachment proceedings. So yung Senate itself is the court at yung mga judges po is the senators. At yung kailangan pong number of votes dyan is 2/3 of all members of Senate to vote for a judgment of conviction against dun sa impeachable officer. At dito nyo po makikita ngayon yung pagka-political process talaga ng impeachment kasi meron pong number of votes required. As long as there is sufficient number of votes required under the Constitution, di pwede po talaga ma-impeach yung impeachable officer kahit naman na sabihin natin na mali-mali pala yung evidence na sinubmit. Kasi dito po sa impeachment, this is what we call a sui generis proceeding or unique po siya na proceeding. Therefore, hindi po talaga nag-a-apply strictly yung rules of procedure sa judiciary. So let's say meron palang mga evidence na sinubmit doon na pag sa regular court is inadmissible or kulang sa evidentiary value. Pero dito po sa Senate, kung yung senator tingin nila sapat na yon, tapos 2/3 mag-vote in favor, pwede po talagang magkaroon ng judgment of conviction despite the lapses. Pero again, emphasize ko hindi ko naman po sinasabing merong lapses mangyari. Yung point ko lang po dito, the impeachment proceeding is a unique proceeding na siya lang yung ganun. Therefore, yung mga strict legalities, rules of procedure of the judiciary, that's not strictly apply to impeachment proceedings. At again, dun po lalabas ngayon yung pagka-political process niya na as long as nga makuha yung number of votes, talagang magkakaroon ng impeachment. So dun po makikita niyo yung pagka-numbers game po talaga ng impeachment proceeding. At ngayon punta na po tayo sa second topic of our discussion, which is yung what constitutes an impeachable offense. Okay? So under po the Constitution, meron po yung specific grounds na nilagay dyan: betrayal of public trust, other high crimes, culpable violation of the Constitution, treason, and graft and corruption. Yun po yung specific grounds. So kung sino po magde-determine kung what constitutes an impeachable offense dun sa limang yun, syempre yung lower house po yung magde-determine yan kasi yun yung sinabi ng ating Constitution. And because of that, dito ko na po ngayon i-explain sa inyo yung kaso na Francisco versus House of Representatives. Kung saan may isa pong issue in that case, tinanong dun nung nag-file ng kaso kung what constitutes an impeachable offense. At alam nyo po ang sabi ng Supreme Court doon, what constitutes an impeachable offense is a purely political question. Okay? Ibig sabihin po ng purely political question, it is a question that is addressed or given by the Constitution to a specific branch of government, which in this case is the legislative branch or the Congress. So ano po ba ibig sabihin pag may political question? Ibig sabihin po dyan, hands off yung Supreme Court. Hindi po sila mag-explain or magsasagot kasi under the Constitution, since it is clearly vested in Congress na mag-determine, sila po dapat ang magde-determine at hindi po makikialam ang judiciary or ang Supreme Court. So ngayon, papasok naman po ako as a lawyer, okay? As a lawyer po kasi we are considered as officers of the court. Therefore, kailangan namin sundin yung mandato ng Constitution at ng batas. And of course, since officer ako ng court, kailangan ko rin sundin ang mandato ng Supreme Court, which is to refrain from discussing political questions. So ngayon, I'm sure baka sasabihin nyo, baka nagpe-play safe lang yan si attorney kasi takot siya mapagalitan, etc. etc. Wala po like what I explained earlier in the video, ganun po talaga. Yung akin lang naman, layunin ko dito sa videos is just to apply the laws and the jurisprudence that is applicable to the set of facts we are discussing. And since dito yung batas or yung decided case na pinapag-usapan natin nagsasabi na political question yung impeachable offense, hindi na po ako makikialam doon or makikisawsaw pa because that is the direction or the mandate given to me by the Supreme Court. And the reason why I am emphasizing this po, kasi ako po as a practicing lawyer, ayoko naman po magkaroon ng disciplinary action from the judiciary. Baka may mag-file po sa atin ng complaint. Kasi tatandaan po ninyo, when I make these videos, hindi naman po ako ordinaryo citizen lang or regular citizen. I am making myself appear to the public as a lawyer. Diba? Kaya nga po kung makikita nyo sa videos ko, may nakalagay talaga dyan, lawyer explains, tas nakalagay talaga yung pangalan ko na AttorNEIL Abayon. Hindi naman Mr. Neil Abayon lang po nakalagay dyan. Therefore, I must act as a lawyer and respect the mandate of the Supreme Court and the judiciary. Pero wag po kayo mag-alala kasi meron naman po akong nakikitang remedy. Currently, in this video, I am presenting myself as a lawyer. However, kung gusto po ninyo i-discuss ko pa rin talaga yung substance ng mga impeachable offense na nilagay dun sa complaint, pwede naman po natin i-discuss yan pero I will not be discussing in my capacity as a lawyer. So in other words, kung gusto po ninyo sa next video, pwede po ako mag-appear not as AttorNEIL Abayon but as Mr. Neil Abayon lang po. Hindi ko na rin po lalagyan ng lawyer lawyer explains. Pero yung caveat lang po dyan is that when I am discussing legal technicalities or legal matters as an ordinary member of society, as a regular citizen, as Mr. Neil Abayon, ibig sabihin po niyan, lahat ng sasabihin ko is chismis or hearsay. Therefore, ano po yan, pwede sabihin nating fake news. So kung okay po kayong magmaritesan lang tayo regarding this impeachable offense, wala naman pong problema sa akin yun. As long as nagkakaintindihan po tayo. Okay, so para po sa mga gusto pa rin makarinig ng explanation ko as Mr. Neil Abayon, gusto makipagmaritesan, mag-comment lang po kayo dyan sa baba ng maritesan tayo Mr. Neil para at least alam ko po na interested pa rin kayo as long as hindi po ako mag-appear as a lawyer. Okay, so hopefully klaro yun guys, and hanggang dito lang po muna tayo today. If you want more legal videos po to current events, follow lang po kayo sa akin sa Facebook, sa TikTok, at subscribe po kayo sa aking YouTube. And until next time, see you all po. Bye-bye!